oracle reading, and I would like to take a moment to introduce my book. This is an account of healing moments with my child. I think this can resonate a lot with parents, and the feedback I have got from many parents reading this is very relatable. We all shifting, moving through these experiences with our own stories, but the frustration and the healing that we are going through as our children is showing the best and the worst of ourselves. As we go within, we understand that all they're doing is helping us become the better version of ourselves. And every account here comes down to going within and finding that trigger, finding that limiting belief, that softness, that hidden bonded trauma, so that we can release it and become a better version of ourselves. And today I have a very strong message about time, about presence. And as I sat here preparing to read oracle readings, oracle cards, I decided to go into the book, and as I always do myself with my own book, this is an oracle book. It's not a book to read from cover to cover. It's not a book to finish as soon as you start reading. It's a book for you to go back and just open at any page. And what I have received from feedback from people that are reading the book is that it always falls in a chapter that really relates to what they're going through at that moment, and it helps bring different perspectives of that situation so they can reorganize their mind, reorganize their emotions, their perspectives, and see different way outs, right? Different way out through the situation. And since I've been feeling this sense of time, I had a few downloads about time and how we can be present. I decided to go into the book, and the book actually, as I opened randomly, I just put a feather there to kind of separate the page that I was in. It came in exactly relating to time, and I'm then going to draw the cards and see any more messages that the card can bring to us. Each chapter are literally a minute or two read, and I'm not going to read the whole chapter here, but I'm going to bring the essence of it because I lived through this. And at times when I was my child was a bit younger, again this is 2022, so about 3 years ago this awareness came through. And what I was going through myself personally was that I was feeling interrupted, almost like if I was on the go, running the house chores, and of course there's time to play, but there's times that you have to be the house carer, right? Not just the child care, but the house carer and the family carer and the cooking and the laundry and this. And when you are busy on those moments, you are busy, but you're not present. You are on automatic. And our child have this soul connection with us, whether we are blood or not. Our child has chosen us as a parent to be here to show us the best versions of ourselves. And when we are busy, we are distracting ourselves if we are not present, if we are not fully present with ourselves. And the reason we're not fully present with ourselves is because we are holding traumas, we are holding baggages of energy, of emotions with us that it's been there since we were children, and we're carrying it over and just pushing on automatic button. And whether we're playing with them, or we're doing chores, or we're busy doing other things, how present are we in that time and space? And if we're playing with them and they're asking for more attention, If we're actually busy in the kitchen and they're coming back to you and asking for attention, they could be in another room doing something and they stop what they're doing, they come in, Mom, Dad. Is because they can feel and sense that we are not present in our body, that we have escaped somewhere by either scrolling on phone, either keeping ourselves busy, sometimes through the obsession of cleaning, through the obsession of getting things perfect. And they are sensing that switch where we go from not being present in ourselves to being escaping out of ourselves. And they come in and will call us in. They will call us in. And that feels like an interrupted moment. That feels like, yes, I will sit and play with you, but right now I'm busy doing something but not realizing we are on automatic. And when they call us, is that it feels an interruption. And not an interruption in a judgment of, oh, they're interrupting me from what I'm doing. It feels an interrupted of that escaping, of that soul escaping out of the body. Almost like we are suddenly and abruptly brought back in. And when we are brought back in, we are brought back in into this physical body that are dense, that is holding all this baggage, all this energy. And they can also sense this energy and what they're doing by at soul level. They are fully guided by their soul to just come in and mirror that behavior, that trauma, whatever that we are dealing with subconsciously. They are able to pick it up and mirror that through their own behavior. And what I found through the journey of this book, which is all the accounts that I've been through with my own child, was that they were displaying a behavior. And, you know, you go into your inner child, you realize how that behavior within yourself, how you were treated by your parents, and you're trying to do it differently. But what we not sometimes might not be able to see is that behavior is to mirror back something that is within us, something that needs changes, something that needs expanding. And as soon as we look within and see what that mirror is trying to show us, when you figure it out, when you know and understand and you heal it and you release it, their behavior for that mirror is going to be gone. So we're not here, through this book, I'm not trying to say, well, you need to change how your child is behaving, you need to improve how your child is behaving. It's about looking at the child's behavior and then going into your inner child to see where that behavior was not nurtured, where that same behavior that you had, how did your parents react to that behavior, and how did you feel about that? Were you nurtured? Were you not listened? Were you not heard? Were you actually heard and listened? And the reason why you want to do different than the way it was done to you with your child, but sometimes we struggle, it triggers come up. And this is the moment where you are doing for your child in a different way, but for you at the same time as like a self-parenting, a self-nurturing. This is how you release that frustration, that resentment of how you as a child was treated or seen or heard when you were displaying that behavior. And the concept of time here is incredible, because the concept of time, there's no concept of time. There is the present time where we need to kind of slow down to be able to be aware of our triggers, to be aware of our body sensations and what our body's trying to tell us. But there's also the concept of no time, where when you are nurturing the child through the behavior mirror that the child is displaying for you, to you, and you go within and you realize what your inner child would love to have received, and you give that to your child, you also giving that to your inner child. And that is no concept of time, because you're going that in the past, in your inner child, through your child, on the present moment. So there's this past and present blending of time that allows you to make that change, that allows you to re-signify your own experience as your child, as your inner child, your own experience to be able then to make that change, so that you can do that more lovingly, more softly, and not inconsistent enough that is your new normal. Sometimes we're trying to be consistent with certain reactions to the children's behavior, but eventually we hit triggers. If we are hitting triggers, we're not necessarily being true to those consistency of behaviors back to their behaviors. We are only setting a tone, but we're not actually releasing and coming from a true moment, a true place within ourselves. Because if we are coming from a true place within ourselves, triggers doesn't exist, because that true place within ourselves is unconditional. So we need to find that unconditional place within ourselves to be able to then be able to give that unconditional back to the children's way of being, behavior, or anything. But again, if a child is displaying a behavior, they are constantly mirroring back. And I asked this question once about my child. If he's constantly mirroring a behavior, is he spending any time trying to figure out who he is? Yeah. And that's why it's important for us to work through these behaviors that our child is displaying and go within and work in ourselves as a matter of time, because up to 6 to 7 year old, they will be mirroring. After 7 years old, their perspective of the world is completely different. They are waking up to the world around them. They're noticing things, and this is where they start to shape themselves. So if you can do the work in the first 7 years of your child, they are free to be a child. They're free to be themselves, because you're not going to spend the time mirroring back to us. And this is the beauty of this. These accounts, because it brings these perspectives, the spiritual perspective, it brings the the dimension perspectives, it brings the awareness, and the feedback I've been getting from other parents has been quite amazing, quite surprising for me, because of course I didn't write it for that reason. I was only just writing my own experience and decided to put it into a book, but it turned out that it is assisting others, and I feel very grateful but very surprised at the same time. So I'm going to start reading the cards now and see what the cards have to offer. Disengage from outcomes. Let go so you can open yourself to the highest love that you deserve. Find a ways to release worry or any unresolved lack of forgiveness you might be holding on to. Sometimes when we are holding on to unresolved issues and forgiveness, that lack of forgiveness, it means that we are in somewhat of resentment or grief or blame or guilt or shame, and we are holding that. And sometimes through parenting, we do things, we say things that we don't mean it. Sometimes it comes out of a space, of a trigger space within ourselves, and we don't forgive ourselves for that. We don't forgive, we just sit in that self-blame. Just the other morning I was picking up my son from a friend's house, and I didn't like the way I made the decision, the situation that we're all in, and things change in the middle of the night, which I didn't realize, found out in the morning, and it was all down to my own decision. But I was very frustrated with myself, and it came across the tone, and he said, "Mom, why are you fighting with me? I didn't do anything wrong." I said, "No, you didn't, sweetheart. Mommy's tone is from my own frustration of my own decision making, and I'm really sorry." And as soon as I said that, we forgive ourselves. It was just this forgiveness in the space, in time. And we were back to having a conversation in a different tone, a more happy and flamboyant tone, as in the past when I held that frustration within myself and didn't come around to realize. Of course, he took it as his problem, and I took it as my problem. There was no coming back to say, oh yeah, exactly what really happened. And there was a moody moment after that, right, between us. So all these moments that we're not holding on, that we're actually going back and becoming aware, is changing the present moment. And sometimes the past could be just about a minute ago, or sometimes the past can be like your inner child past, right? Your childhood past. And that's what I said right here from that chapter. There's no concept of time when we are resignifying how we are raising our children. If we are parenting them in a way that we would like to be parented, we are resignifying our own past. And like I said, it doesn't need to be just a minute ago, fix the minute ago situation, but you can fix 30 years ago situation. Yeah. Enchanting forest, mystery, magic, excitement. The moon here signifies emotions. It's on top of a tree, family tree, right? Ancestor tree. And the mystery, magic, and excitement is this. What I'm saying is, if we can resignify a minute ago that we just reacted in a funny way, and we want to resignify and say, oh, I'm sorry, mommy didn't mean this, mommy didn't mean that, and make things better. Why can we not make things better from something that's been within ourselves, hidden, subconsciously, right? Which is our trigger, which is our baggages, which are emotional trauma bonds. And resignify that in that now moment, in that present moment. So when your children are calling you out again, or not calling you out, sorry, but asking your presence, is because we are escaping somewhere. And where are we escaping to? What are we escaping from? Yeah, it's very important. So bring your awareness back to where you were, back to what you were doing, how you were doing, and ask yourself, was I present doing the laundry? And maybe you weren't, and that's why the child was watching TV and sensing that you escaped somewhere. It's like a soul barometer. They have a soul connection with us, very, very close, whether we understand this or not. And as soon as our soul starts to escape, they can sense, so they come to us and bring us down. And this is what's happening the whole time. They're coming to us and bring us down. It's our job to understand where we're going to and why, so that we can resignify that and change it, so we can spend more time in that present moment where they live, because kids live in the present moment regardless. Dragon magic. I love this card. I love the third eye. I love the flower at the top. It looks more like the crown. And I think it comes down to a bit to what I was explaining. It's a crown connection. It's a soul connection between parent and child, or any other connection that you have a soul connection with. Could be a partner, could be a business partner, could be a friend. And it happens in a 5D where there's no time and space. And see if I can get the book for that. There's no time and space, and that's a bit what I've been sensing with this download coming through. It can be applied to any situation, but there's a 5D time and there's a 3D time. The 5D time covers all timelines. The 3D time is just where you are. That version of you is. But there's a version of you there, there's a version of you there. And how can you go back from the present moment, resignify the version of you in the past, and be different in the present to then create a new reality in the future? It's very powerful, very powerful. When we are aware, become aware, it's very powerful. Oh, I love this. Dragon magic. This card represents a portal through which dragon consciousness can interact with human consciousness. Dragon consciousness is becoming more and more accessible. The powers of the element, air, water, fire, and earth, are called upon to restore balance. Dragon brings good fortune, magically transform a situation in your life. Call upon a reason, strength, and self-assurance. And through dragon energy, these powers will be granted to you. This auspicious time brings favorable, and changeable results. Open your eyes to the beauty around you. Open your mind to the wonders of life. Open your heart to those who love you, and always be true to yourself. Open your heart to those who love you. Your child has unconditional love for you. It comes to earth with intact, unconditional love for you. So when they come to you, and although we can feel interrupted from what we're doing, but only because we are not being minded, it's not about that, it's about where we're escaping to, that they are coming, realizing, sensing, bringing ourselves back. Okay? You have a baby, okay? And you truly understand when you put a baby to sleep and you seem like you can't get away from that baby. You cannot get away from that baby. As soon as you do, they wake up, okay? And you can be as quiet as you can, and you've tried every strategy, putting the hand on the chest, leaving the most slowly possible, taking your hand off their chest, and as soon as you like just about at the door, they move and they wake up. And it doesn't matter the age, that can happen at any age. My child is 9 and this can still happen. And I sense a lot of these energies, these frequencies. And the times I've been the most present with his bedtime were the times that I was able to come out gently and easily, and he didn't wake up. Because as he fell asleep with that bonded energy between us, both present with each other. The times that I was putting him to bed with the mind busy somewhere else, with the mind busy thinking about tomorrow or what I still needed to do after he goes to bed, those are the times I couldn't leave the bedroom. And this is what I'm saying, this dragon magic is only showing us that we can change our situation just by being present, understanding where we're escaping to. Releasing the past, emerging, transforming, energies transmuted. Absolutely. The energy gets transmuted in the past from, I'll rephrase this. The energies of the past gets transmuted in the present moment. The present moment is a replica of what we experienced in the past. Our life is about repetition. We are repeating ourselves every day, every week, every month, every year, for years and years and years. And what happened in our childhood is happening today between you and a friend, between you and a family member, between you and a loved one, between you and a child. And it's not, doesn't need to be the same story, but it can be the same. It is a different story that elicits the same feeling, the same emotion, the same remembrance of sometimes even something that happened to you. So the way we release the past is through the present moment, not when we are in the present moment in an automatic state of being, is when we are present. And it's about slowing down time. In the spiritual world, people talk about how can we slow your time and you'll be able to see, slow your time and you'll be able to receive your answers. And I will bring an analogy to this. Actually, I'm going to bring it now because the card is here. So you remember the times when you spent, you know, if you're listening this and you lived this through the 80s and 90s, you spent time creating your music list on cassette tapes, and probably a Saturday night where a radio station would play the most hits for the week, and you would be there sitting waiting for, you know, for the music to come through, to press record and then press pause and then wait for the next song. You know, the radio announcer would announce the next music and you're ready for it, waiting for just the time when he's finishing talking so you can just press record. You'd be writing your songs and you'd be in that bedroom for 4 hours maybe, and then after the radio show ended, you're going back on your tape to see how you recorded from one music to another, making your playlist on a cassette paper cover, writing it down nice and neat. Look at all how time slowed down for you to create all this. How much passion, how much attention, how much focus, how much presence. You needed to be in tune with the music finishing to press the record button. And if you compare that to how we were creating music for not even CD, CD was more like a transition to speeding up that process. But if you skip CD recording to iPod, when you put into iPod, you were just searching the music, make a list, click, 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 send, and you would go about and do something else. You're making time by doing something else while that's transferring to your iPod, and sometimes could take an hour, but you didn't sit there waiting because it wasn't playing music for you. You went about and did something else, okay? And as we are doing something else, we are speeding up time. And when we are speeding up time, we are losing that passion, that focus, that attention. And this is what I mean when your child, when someone is calling your attention, you feel interrupted, that interruption is a sign, it's awareness for you to go, right, they're not interrupting me. I'm actually escaping somewhere, avoiding something in the present moment. Therefore, I went somewhere else to avoid, to escape. So what is it I'm avoiding? Become aware of that. Try to figure it out, because it will come through sensations in your body. It will come through feelings in your body. It will come through perhaps even a memory, a distant memory. And it will be this issue that you're avoiding was created in the past. It could be a recent past, could be a childhood past. And as soon as you bring yourself to that awareness in the present moment and you work through it, which we do that in our workshops. If you want to ever join our workshops, your healing groups, this is where we release the past, right? We release those conditioning and traumas and limiting beliefs and programming in the present moment. And then you are transmuting these energies from the past and you are transforming, you are releasing the past in the present moment. Okay? And this is what I mean by this concept of time. Let's go for another card. Honor the cycles. And this is not a card for just a female lady going through the cycles, okay? I mentioned before that life is a repeating. We are repeating our stories, our situations, our traumas are repeating every week, every day, every hour. And our cycles is that we go through these, and every time that we go through this, we have an option. We have an option to release it, or we have an option to create a coping mechanism to it. And as we create a coping mechanism to it, we are creating layers and layers and layers of subconscious pen lids, put it that way, okay? If we are honoring these cycles of repetition of situations, when we honor, that means we are slowing down time. We are looking to see why they're coming back again. What do I need to be aware of? And the best things for your soul to show you is to be conscious, to crack open and bring it to you, is to ask questions, and sometimes out loud, listening to your own voice. I have experienced a lot of times where I was asking questions and my throat chakra was so painful and tight asking those questions. And I had been asking in my mind and nothing was happening in my body. As soon as I put my voice out, your voice is a frequency of healing. Your voice heals your own cells. Nobody else's voice will heal in your own cells. Your voice heals your own cells in your body. And that's why speaking, listening cracks open your subconscious, and you honor your cycles by becoming aware where you are in your cycle, where you can break the cycle that's been repeating for years and years and years, to be able to then create a different cycle, a cycle that's more positive, a cycle that's more soft, a cycle that's more easy easy going, right? Less effort, more passion. And I wrote just yesterday, and it's on YouTube post, community post, about the trail of consequences and the checkpoints. So if you think that if you have a repeating cycle coming through and these are checkpoints, and you realize that you become aware of this checkpoint, and through that checkpoint you are trying to release something about the past, yeah, and then that cycle will change shape, and that cycle will have a different perspective to it, a different energy to it. It could be a cycle that you broke frustration on that checkpoint, and you created what's an energy for less frustration? Acceptance. Okay, you're not as frustrated anymore. So when that happens again, you are seen through the lenses of acceptance. And then another time the cycle repeats again, and you honor it by becoming aware, and you go within and you find that checkpoint. And that checkpoint is about, confusion. So you went from acceptance to confusion, but now you can change that confusion to understanding. So you're understanding something about that situation that you never seen before. Okay? So it's about honoring these repeating cycles, honoring that time when you feel interrupted by anyone breaking your focus. And you need to ask that questions. Is your focus a present focus, a creative present focus, or is your focus escaping type of focus? Yeah, I'm gonna go for this just because I touched it. Yasha Tisogyo, Lady of the Lotus born. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. I don't know much about this goddess, okay, this female goddess. The Lady of the Lotus born, I would say lotus represents the crown chakra, but he also talks about my body was made for enlightenment. And I think that when we are becoming aware, which is the lotus, the crown chakra, our awareness will bring sensations in our body. It's only through our body, sensations and feelings, that we allow ourselves to feel, that we reach enlightenment, that we release the past, that we release these checkpoints in our cycles. So it's very important to, when you become aware, to sense what's coming up in your body. Last night I was in my sleep and I woke up at 3:33 a.m. Who doesn't, right, these days? 3:13, 3:03, 3:33, 3:30, 4:44, 5:55. Who doesn't wake up these days, right, at these times in the middle of the night? And there is a reason for that. We talk about that in our workshops as well, in a healing circle. So if you want to join, it would be lovely there, because you can ask questions and we can go through it. I woke up and I received a download, and then the download stopped, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? And I realized I was shutting my crown. I wasn't allowing the download to come in fully. And then what happens, I start to get the little downloads through the day, like in bits. I never get the whole thing, and I'm thinking, why? There must be like this shutting down of my chakra, crown chakra, that I do for some reason. And when I sat up in bed and meditated, and I tried to expand my chakra like a lotus flower, you imagine a lotus flower opening your crown chakra, and I started to get sensations in my solar plexus of fear. very light hint of it, but I knew enough to understand that there is a fear to open my crown chakra. So I had to work through that through the night, and I've been up all night working through that, and I did. And you know, things are I feel much different today, but I still need to journal about it. But I wanted to come into this because I wanted to see what the cards could be sharing as well for me, but for the collective. So your body is where you're going to reach this spiritual awakening, spiritual enlightenment, and embodiment of your soul, because your soul works through the sensations of your body. So we need to allow these sensations to come through when we become aware of a pattern. Sometimes it's a thought process pattern or a condition or a program, a trauma. Everything was created in the past through emotions. The thing that we don't feel it as much anymore is because we suppress if those emotions are very painful. So in the future, we're going to use coping mechanism to suppress that, and that will become automatic, the coping mechanism to suppress that. So we're not feeling the emotions. When we slow down time that we're doing the recording our cassette tapes and doing our music, we slow down time. This is when we can sense those emotions. I mean, it was very nice, nostalgic, creating your own cassette tapes, wasn't it? You know, I remember going to creating my music on iPod, and it wasn't as exciting. But remembering now the cassette tape nostalgia of being there on the floor in the carpet of my home, and the double cassette tape machine there and recording tape, and I got the wrong music, or I pressed play record for the wrong music, or you know, I recorded the guy's voice in the music and I didn't want that. So I said, right, I'll skip that music, go for another one. I'll try to add that music another day. And sometimes it could take a couple of weeks to make that tape. But you know, how perfect did you want it, right? And that nostalgia, that feeling, yeah, it can be gone. And for some reason, when I was trying to open my crown, the lotus, I noticed fear. So I needed to find out what is the fear. And that's you becoming aware through your body sensations. That's your embodiment. That's your soul embodiment. Your soul needs the physical body to communicate with you. Okay? Relieving, suffering, move beyond pain. And this is what I was about to step into talking. I decided to pick a card. And a lot of the times when we become aware of these fears, and you might be asking, did you just work through the fear like that at night? Today I say yes. The first time I hit fear, when I became aware of a trigger, and I went into the trigger to find out what it was the most horrendous feeling ever. It was not nice. It was like reliving the trauma. It was like reliving the suffering and the pain. And I backed away many times before I realized that was the way through. Okay? Not pushing through, but that was the way through. It's like giving birth. I like that the word born is here. I was going to work with that, but I thought I'll leave it. It's like giving birth, and I truly remember the labor table going, no one else can do this for me. This baby needs to come out, and I need to do it myself. There's the only way is through me, nobody else. And was a message that perhaps I gave myself subconsciously for the times after that when my child was mirroring things for me, and I was really difficult to see, right? Really difficult to take in because I was reliving a little bit of suffering. What I didn't understand is that if I worked through it, I wasn't going to just relive it. If I worked through it, I would then release it. Yeah? I would then release the past. And this is when I understood that embodiment, just the word embodiment, I didn't understand what it meant until I shifted through the worst pain of frustration, resentment, guilt, blame, shame, suffering, pain, everything. fear. I still shift through a lot of fear, but because I've shifted through the, perhaps at the beginning you shift through the big chunks of it because you're touching it again for the first time in years, you just get the hint of it after. The more you go through these healing releases, okay, that's what we do in our workshop, in our group circle of healing, but we do it guided, we do it supported. There's a lot of love in it, so it makes it easier. I did it on my own in the middle of the night, through the dark night of the soul, proper in the dark night of the soul. People don't need to do it that way anymore. The energies of the universe are here to literally assist us, and there's people that have gone it through the hard way to help you go through the easy way. I'm here to give you the confidence to do it yourself, to learn to do it yourself. So every time something comes up for you to see, you can start your own healing process, release it, and crack on with life. And healing now for me is on the go. It's as it happens in the daytime, in a situation. I'm healing as it happens. And this is possible. And I'm here to teach you. I'm here to give you that confidence, that trust in yourself that you can do it. And it is, the first time it is hard, but it isn't going to kill you. It's going to reborn you, but you need to get through it, okay? And if you want to join our group, we do it supported. It's beautiful. Okay. Sun God. I love this card. Okay, because you are strength. You are pure strength. The sun is sending us flash of lights, energy, the planets, the other races around, the Andromedas, Arcturians, the Archangel tribe, right? Even your soul tribe is sending you love. Every time they step into themselves, they step into their awareness and release the past, they're sending you love. You are receiving. You don't need to know. You don't need to feel. You just need to know. And it's a soul remembrance that you are going to have with each healing that you have. Trust me, you will. And this is what I mean. It's the sun god just came up to say it's all within our own strength, moving through it. Those first couple of times will not be easy, but we can do it together in the healing circle, in a supported way, where you finish the process and not leave it halfway. Because a lot of the times, besides me backing away, when I decided to work through it, a few times I stopped halfway because I couldn't cope. But I didn't feel assisted, I didn't feel guided. It was very unknown, and it makes, when I started to seek other people to assist me, the healing was so much better. Yeah. And there's a reason why some people go through it certain ways, because they can assist others. And the more you go through it, the more you can assist others as well. It becomes like a cascade of this service, right? Service to humanity. Oops. The sacred vow, divine commitment. And again, if you are here in this video, if you are here because you are healing through your own cycles, your own past, going through the dark night of the soul, you have strength, but you have this sacred vow to humanity. You're here to serve, and the help that you get is the help that you can give out, plus enhance with your own experience. And this is the process of, sensitive souls, old souls, rainbow child, crystal child, indigo child. You have a soul tribe to assist. Soul tribes will intersect, okay? We could be an intersection of that, so that you can then go about and find your own soul tribe. And as I'm speaking this, I have a strong sensation in my heart chakra, in my throat chakra. Very nice, not a painful one. And it feels great, feels amazing. Okay? So it must be true. So if you are going through this journey of healing, you have a sacred vow to humanity. You are balancing your feminine and your masculine energies within yourself to be able to reach that point of unconditional love and start to live your life through unconditional love. We don't become unconditional love overnight and forever. We are constantly shifting through the lenses of unconditional love. Remember, we have millions and thousands and millions of years of karma to work through. And this is not to bring you down or anything. But as you learn the healing process that I teach in my healing circles, you will be able to do it yourself. You will be able to do it yourself and continue to heal and continue to evolve. Every day, every situation, every day is an opportunity for you to evolve through the lenses of unconditional love. Once you understand the lenses of unconditional love and you use that lens to see how your situation is happening in front of you, you can make solutions based on unconditional love. And it doesn't mean you know everything about unconditional love. We're never going to know everything about unconditional love. But every day you have the opportunity to learn a little bit more in depth with it. And layers and layers and layers of unconditional love. I have hit the same situation many, many times and seen it through a lens of unconditional love. And the situation came around. I'm questioning why is it coming through? And I can see deeper meaning and layers of that same unconditional love in that situation. And it was mind-blowing that we can evolve so much through that to be able to see deeper layers. And I'm always excited to see more, and I know there's always more, and I'm excited to see more. So if you are healing, if you are going through your healing journey, your spiritual awakening, you have a sacred vow and commitment to service to humanity. But every moment that you are healing, you are already serving humanity, and you need to believe and trust that. What you wants you. You see the hair going into a spiral here? Yeah, spiral of healing. We call that the spiral of healing. This is how we heal. We go through the situations in different aspects, different ways, many times, all the way through until it's fully resolved. And sometimes it isn't. And our hair, I had a dream about hair this night, funnily enough. And the message I got from my dream is our hair is our truth and how we make decisions from our truth. And the fact that the hair is going in a spiral of all these situations that could happen again and again and again, I think it shows here that through the crown, through the awareness, you know, the hair is a sign, is a symbol, a universal sign, is a symbol, like animal spirit. The hair gives us that symbol that it's down to your decision, and where is your decisions coming from? Yeah. And we need to understand where our decisions coming from. This dream was teaching me through my dreaming about my hair that I was making decisions through a distorted masculine within myself from experience with distorted masculines in the past. And that includes relationships, the masculine figure while you're growing up, whether it's your father, grandfather. I was making decisions, my most recent decisions came from this distorted masculine. And I just remember the last reading had a masculine divine power message to it. I think I'm going to read about it again. And I think I'm ready for a last card. I feel the energy shifting, dissipating, but I would like to take one last card. I'll take the spirit animal card. I always go for them at the end. Cross worry, resolute, warrior spirit, and defense. I'm going to read this one. Cassowary. Cassowary. Never heard of that. So it'll be interesting too. So let's see. Okay. So when, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. When Cassowary appears as your spirit animal, it's time to stomp out of obstacle and go for it. As a totem animal belongs to those who have a pioneering spirit. Invoke Cassowary as your power animal when you need help believing you have a unique purpose to feel. This is the most dangerous bird in the world today, living in New Guinea and northern Australia. It stands in an impressive 80 inches tall, has 3 toed feet with razor-sharp claws, and uses for fighting. An ancient story from Papua says Cassowary can shed its skin, shape-shifting into a beautiful woman. This is but one Aboriginal myth that stands alongside songs and dances for feathered friends. Should a tribesperson find a cassowary claw, bone, or feather, it's a cherished treasure, particularly as a hunting charm or amulet. It also has a unique role to play in spreading the seeds of many trees and plants that would cease to exist otherwise. No other bird in this region plunges through the undergrowth and carves out new paths like this dauntless creature. It ties with trailblazing and maintaining a healthy ecology on the external and internal levels. I think what I get the message here, my heart was glowing at a certain part of the reading. You have this sacred vow to service humanity, and you know this. That's why you're here. That's why you are healing your past. Okay? What you want to serve humanity wants you. Your soul tribe is ready for you. But you are healing. You are going through your cycles and you are healing. Every point in your cycle is an opportunity for you to heal something about that cycle. And you are doing it. Okay? You are doing it. And the cassowary is you, is me, is us. Trailblazing through these spiritual awakening, right? Whether through it by ourselves or whether with the help of a soul tribe. However, we all have a soul tribe and we all interlink. If you think of the Olympic symbol with all the circles intersecting, this is what happens as one person not completes the cycle, but moves through the spiritual awakening enough that they can assist others, then that other person will then continue in their own spiritual awakening quite independently and then intersect with another person. But each circle will create their own soul tribe. And as you create your own soul tribe, that power, that enlightenment, that embodiment becomes much more powerful. Okay? Much more powerful. And this is how we are serving humanity. So do not underestimate how each moment of healing that you have in your present moment, when you're brought back to your present and you create that awareness, to then make that shift, like I mentioned in that book, in my book. Don't underestimate that that moment you are already servicing humanity. I didn't believe I was, but now I see how it is. Every time I'm shifting, I am servicing to humanity. So we don't need to sit and think that we can only start healing and assisting humanity when we become a healer and putting and become, and that becomes our job. We are healing on everyday moment that we come back to the present moment. Okay, and I thank you so much for being here. If any of these messages was of any help, maybe put a lotus on the comments. Put a lotus on the comments, and it'll be lovely to see those lotus. I know everyone can have different colors. Pick your color, add in a comment if you're interested in our healing circle to go through some of the things we mentioned. Perhaps you have questions, assisting, healing, releasing something. I would love to be able to be of assistance, and yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for today.